Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. For those of you guys that know me, you know two things. Wednesday means homework day, because that's when my schoolwork is due, and I always wait till the last day to do it. So homework day and check-in day. So it doesn't matter what day of the week you check in, just as long as you stay consistent with it, I think. I chose Wednesdays because it's kind of like a happy medium. Halfway through the week, I don't know. I just picked Wednesdays. It's the day that I decided to start. It just goes to show you don't have to always start on a Monday. So Wednesdays are my check-in days. And I just showed you guys that I got on the scale this morning. And for those of you that are following, I was in the 154s last week. I was at 154.4, and actually I'm up this week to 155.6. This is the perfect example because the first week I started at 158, and then I slowly got down to 154, and then now my weight jumped back up again. There's a couple factors for that, and over the course of like a dieting phase, you might notice your weight fluctuate, your inches change. So we're gonna talk about that just briefly. So the last 3 to 4 weeks, I have kept my macros fairly the same. I haven't really changed too much because I was seeing some sort of progress. Inches haven't changed much really since the beginning, but I was seeing the scale change, and so I decided to keep my macros the same to see if I would eventually start to see some change in my measurements. Now, measurement wise, I usually will do 3 areas usually every week. The first one is right around the smallest part underneath my rib cage right here. So I typically, right around the rib cage, I'll find the bottom of my rib cage right here, and it's between the bottom of the rib cage and above the belly button. So I'll just measure right around that smallest part right here. I'll also measure another one just right about my belly button height or so. And then I will do my hips right around the widest part of my hips here. Each of those spots. So I usually do those 3 measurements each week so that I can keep track of kind of how things are changing with my body, my measurements, because you might see some change on the scale, but you might not see measurement change, or they're like the last couple weeks for me, or you might have weeks where you see the scale go up or down, or stay the same, and your measurements are changing. So there's a lot of different factors, a lot of different like variations. I hope that makes sense what I'm trying to say. Scale can change, inches can change, scale can change, inches can stay the same, and scale can stay the same, but inches can change. And so you have to take all those things into consideration when you are like on a cut or when you're looking to lose weight or lose fat, because if my inches are staying the same but my weight's dropping, I'm not necessarily like losing like fat necessarily. I'm losing weight, but I'm not necessarily losing fat because my inches aren't changing, my stomach's not getting smaller, my hips aren't getting smaller, those areas aren't getting smaller, and so there's still body fat there, so I'm not necessarily losing fat. Sometimes it takes a little while. Sometimes you'll see weight loss right away. If you cut your carbs down, you're gonna see weight loss right away for the first couple weeks, because that's gonna be like water weight. You're gonna start dropping water weight, and so your weight's gonna go down, but you're not necessarily gonna see fat loss. So what's gonna happen here is this. I'm obviously bummed that like my inches didn't go down because my inches didn't change this week and my weight went up like a pound, but I did have my birthday last week. I did go out to eat. I had a higher calorie meal that was like 6 days ago now. So I don't necessarily think I'm still holding on to any weight from that. I think my body just adjusted to the intake that I was at the last 3 to 4 weeks, and so now it's time to change it up. So I'm bummed, but at the same time, it's great for me to teach. It's a really good teaching moment. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop my carbs a little more significantly than I probably would, just because I only have about 4 weeks left until my vacation, okay? Now, I was at a high enough calorie intake when I started this cut. I was at like 2,100 calories, 2,000 to 2,100 calories. I was at a really high calorie intake to start with, so I have more flexibility. I can cut down a little bit lower, a little more drastically, and not have it affect, like hopefully not affect my hunger too much. Maybe in the first couple of days I might be a little bit more hungry, but I should adjust to it. So it shouldn't affect that type of stuff. It shouldn't really affect like my energy levels or anything like that because I'm still not super, super low. So when I started the cut initially, I dropped down to about 1900 some calories. My carbs were roughly like 195 to 200. And then in the last couple weeks, I've slowly decreased them, like not much. Last week I was at roughly about 190 to 195 carbs. And so now what I'm gonna do is I typically recommend decreasing your carbs each week if you need to by about 5 to 10, maybe 15 carbs, and then about 1 to 2 grams per fat. That's gonna be a very slow, sustainable fat loss, okay? Now, because I have slowly been decreasing and maybe even not decreasing some weeks because I was seeing some weight loss and I only have 4 weeks left, I'm gonna cut down a little bit more drastically. So I'm gonna cut down by about 20 to 25 carbs and see how that affects my progress next week essentially. The hope is that I will then see some inches lost as well, along with some weight loss, and we'll just have to kind of wait and see. The hardest part about tracking macros, you guys, is that it's such a guessing game. It's such a guessing game. Like, what my body might work better off of 200 grams of carbs, and Sally over here, she might eat 200 grams of carbs and she might blow up. It all depends on your maintenance intake. It all depends on your history. Have you been consistent? How long have you been tracking for? How long have you been exercising for? Other factors are your age, your resting metabolism. Are you a yo-yo dieter? Have you been crash dieting for years and your metabolism is shit? It's really low, so more intake is gonna cause you to bloat and gain weight. Or do you have a faster metabolism? Have you been able to maintain your weight at a higher intake? So it'll be really interesting to kind of see over the next week or so what happens from decreasing my carbs that much. But yeah, I'll keep you guys posted and see how I feel after the first day of eating less carbs. Hopefully that makes sense. I know it's a lot of information and I kind of just rambled on for a little while, but yeah, we'll just kind of see, we'll see what happens. Just got to keep plugging forward. The kid makes some of the weirdest noises in the world. Okay, first of all, I just want to apologize for this. I don't know what it is. I woke up and it was there. It's like it sprouted overnight. No, this is what happens when you go on day 3 of not washing your hair, so just ignore this. It's Monday. Mondays at our house are kind of like my Saturdays because I don't work on Mondays and I work on Saturdays, and so it's kind of like our chance to get caught up. It's kind of a little bit of a lazy day. Still wearing my pajamas, so no judgment here. I want to talk super quick about macro-friendly foods versus like healthy foods, because I track macros, and a big question that I get is like, okay, well, if something is healthy, then why can't you just eat it? Or why do you have to track your macros, or this or that? And we'll get into more of that later, but I just want to show a really great example. So, hey, I am trying to do something here. He doesn't care. He doesn't care one bit. Do you want your cookie? There. All better. All better. He's just like his mama. He gets hangry, and then when he gets food, he's happy. Oh, and there comes Zoe. She hears the food opening, and she's got to come running and see what's going on. So what I was saying before is about macros versus eating healthy. And I decided yesterday to make the muffin recipe on the Power Cakes box. I've made them before because they're high in protein. And I'm like, oh great, there's like lots of really good stuff in here. There's bananas, there's whole grain, high protein pancake mix, there's eggs, there's only a tiny bit of brown sugar. So I was like, yeah, these are what you would consider to be like a healthy snack option, right? So I made them, I split them up. We did little kind of mini muffins type, and I made 30 servings. So I'm thinking, oh, here I got these great little mini muffins. They're gonna be super healthy, nice little snack, right? Wrong. So here they are. We did banana chocolate chip. And yeah, I mean, there's chocolate chips in them, but I didn't put that many chocolate chips in the batch. I just wanted a little chocolate in each muffin. But if you look at them, like in the palm of my hand, like, I mean, they're pretty small. There's not much to them. And when I figured out the calories and the macros specifically, there was like 15 carbs per little muffin like that. And I don't know about you, but I can't just eat one tiny little mini muffin like this. Like, I'm gonna wanna eat like 2 or 3. And they're 15 carbs per muffin. That adds up to 30 to 45 carbs if you're gonna have like 2 to 3. So in that sense, like, yeah, they're healthy because they've got a lot of healthy ingredients in them, but they're not very macro friendly because I can only eat one and it's 15 carbs. So yeah, I'll talk more about that. Maybe in another video, I'll do one specifically about like macros and stuff like that. But yeah, just a comparison of why tracking macros is a good idea versus just trying to eat healthy, because some foods that might be actually healthy for you might have a lot more macros or calories in than you anticipate, and then your calories add up, your carbs and your macros add up, and then you wonder why you're not losing because you're eating a lot more calories than you should be or than you think you are. So there's my 2 cents for macro tracking versus just eating healthy, and why that can be very deceiving. Got questions? Let me know. I get asked a lot about protein pancakes, and I used to make my own from scratch and they were good, but it was very tedious because there was always a ton of ingredients. And so I always use Kodiak cakes. You can get this big box is like 11, 12 bucks, but you get 3 bags in there from Costco. Otherwise, you can get them at Target too in individual boxes and bags. And it's my favorite. I do waffles and pancakes. Like I said, I did the muffins too, but mostly just waffles and pancakes. And you just do 1/2 cup mixed with water. So easy. And the macros on them for a 1/2 cup is 190 calories, 2 fat, 30 carb, 14 grams of protein. So you're getting a ton extra protein in them than you would in like Bisquick or Krusteaz. I think it's called, we call it Krusteaz. Does anybody else know what it's called or how to say it? We call it Krusteaz. In other pancake mixes. I also sometimes, if I need more protein, will add like a scoop or a 1/2 scoop of protein powder. So that kind of adds a little bit extra in there. And then depending on the flavor, it can be fun, like snickerdoodle or chocolate or PB or something like that. So that's the pancake mix that I use for protein.